Alright, guys, this is a story that I've been sent by some of you guys in my Discord server, and I've heard some rumblings about it from even friends of mine, so it's clear that this story is actually getting some serious traction, even while everyone is talking about and paying attention to the Charlie Kirk assassination and all of the insane news that's come from that's kind of spiderwebbed out from it. But this story seems really important, and I feel like I should probably talk about it. Regardless of what conclusion we come to here, it seems important. Trey Reed's family calls for independent autopsy after he was found hanging in a tree. Police say video exists. So, for those that don't know, it's been kind of a long-running theme within the left to talk about these stories that are oddly common, where black men in particular are found hung in a tree, and it is often attributed to being a suicide. And many on the left argue, and I tend to agree, but I also don't know whether I have like anything other than vibes to go off of when I make this argument or make this agreement, that if a black person was to kill themselves, they wouldn't do it in a tree by hanging, like, in Mississippi, or whatever. Like, I feel like there is some logic to that, but I also don't know if it's anything more than vibes, but also I feel like the vibes are accurate, you know? You know, like, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, you know, guns are the most commonly used thing for suicide, so it's like, the fact that a gun, a knife, pills, something else wasn't used in that method, or hell, even hanging anywhere else but a tree, it's like, I see why people are concerned, and I see why the family is calling for an autopsy and to get more answers. The family of Demar Trayvon, Trey Reed, is seeking an independent autopsy following the Delta State University student's death on Monday, when his body was found hanging in a tree on campus. I will say that most people who hang themselves in trees tend to do it in the forest. At least from my understanding. I don't know if I have data on that, or I'm pulling from any data, but like, I'm thinking like Japanese suicide forest type deal. On campus? At a press event at Living Faith Miracle Temple Church of God in Christ, Jesus Lord, that name, in Grenada late Tuesday afternoon, Vanessa J. Jones of the Jones Law Firm, who is representing the Reed family, told the media that the family is still waiting for answers. The family does not know exactly what happened on September the 15th of 2025, she said. We're seeking answers from Delta State University. We're seeking answers from the coroner's office. Delta State University staff discovered Reed's body hanging from the tree at 7:05 a.m. on Monday, September 15th. At 7:05? That is an hour, that is more than an hour after I wake up, by the way. That's kind of crazy how late into the day a body hung out of a tree on a college campus took to be found at 7? How hungover? I guess college students, yeah, nah. Okay, that's more believable. Hours after his discovery, Delta State University Police Chief Mike Peeler said in a press conference that no foul play was currently suspected. The same day, two officials from the Bolivar County Coroner's Office said Trey Reed had no other visible injuries that would indicate an attack prior to his hanging. Quote, the media knew before the family did. Vanessa Jones criticized Delta State University and Bolivar County officials, telling the Mississippi Free Press that both had left the Reed family completely in the dark after the discovery of Trey Reed's body, failing to properly communicate with them in their darkest moment. Quote, the media, the lawyer said, quote, knew about Trey's death before the family did. That's one of the reasons for the urgency of this press conference, Jones continued, because the family is getting all of their information secondhand through the news. Now that right there is definitely a sign of some racial injustice. I feel like if this was like some like Brock Turner looking white college kid who had supposedly committed suicide by hanging in a tree, I'm pretty sure the police would be like they would be giving space blankets and hot cocoa to both parents and all the family, and being like, okay, so we just got an update on the situation, and we're getting some information, and now, like, this feels like the police just deciding, fuck it, they can figure it out from the news reports about a black family who just lost their son. Their college-age son, dead. Like, gone, like, probably was not living with them, was probably living in a dorm, right? Because on a college campus. So, like, they hadn't seen him in a while, surely. And then they find out that he's dead, and they find out through the news. That is insane. A confusing incident occurred the morning of Trey's death, she said. The Grenada County Sheriff's Department arrived at Trey's family home at approximately 9:15 and informed the family that Trey was found dead in his dorm room, in his bed, she said. Now, you could theoretically chalk that up to the officers making a mistake, because presumably they would have gotten a call, they would have had the story iterated to them, and then they would have driven to the location and they would have, like, reiterated the information to the parents. But, like, that's a critical mistake, to be like actually he was found hung at 7 a.m. in the morning out of a tree, instead saying to your, like, that sounds like he knew what it sounds like. You know what I mean? Like, that cop knew what it sounds like to report your son, who is black, was found this morning hung from a tree dead. In the American South, mind you. It's like, the cop knew how that sounds and did not want to say what it was. That's how it seems. That's what I'm getting the vibe of here. And I think that's what the family thinks as well. Not long after, the family would learn that Trey had died in the center of campus, hanging from a tree. The day after this story first published, Grenada County Sheriff's Department Chief Deputy Ricky Williamson told the Mississippi Free Press in an interview that neither he nor his investigator, Sonja Willis, specified where he had been found when they informed the family of Trey Reed's death on Monday. Grenada, his childhood hometown, is located roughly an hour east of Cleveland, where he was studying at Delta State University. That was never the words that were said when they were notified of his death. Absolutely not. The conversation was that me and my investigator went there to the grandparents of Trey Reed, had them sit down on the porch, and we told them that we had been sent to notify them that Trey Reed had been found deceased at Delta State University, and that the DSU police chief was on the scene, Williamson said on Wednesday afternoon. So according to the cops, they did not say anything so specific as he was found in his bedroom, in his bed. Quote, I said, and I don't recall the exact wording, but that they didn't believe it had been done by anyone else, he continued. I handed them the note with the chief's name and phone number and asked could we pray with them. We prayed, and as we were leaving, the grandmother asked, was he down on the floor? Was he by his bed? I said, ma'am, I do not know. That's when we walked away. So it seems like he's arguing that, like, she asked a question that would imply she made up or assumed he was found in his room, in his bed, or by his bed, and because he answered, I don't know, rather than he wasn't found in his room, he was found outside, then he's trying to argue she took that as a yes to a question that was never asked, it was just assumed. Like, I think that could be what he's doing. It could be that she genuinely did that, just sort of filled in that info herself. If this young man was on the campus of Delta State University with all these cameras and all this modern technology from the moment he left his dorm room or entered the campus, there should be surveillance of all his actions, Jones said. That's what we want. Bring the surveillance, bring the cameras so that we'll know exactly what happened. Jones did not allege that Reed's death had been violent, but demanded a full and independent investigation. We're not here to point fingers yet, but we will have answers. The possible constitutional violations of releasing Trey's name to the media immediately after it happened, we'll get to that, but for now, the family is asking for answers. Yeah, constitutional violations took place, and there was no effort made to reach the family before the media somehow got word of it. I mean, granted, the media can sometimes get to a story real fucking fast. And this was, like, a dead student on a college campus. That's a hard story to cover up. Like, press are gonna find out about that and start, like, reporting on it fast. I don't know. My question is, like, assuming this is suspected to be a lynching, like, Like, would this college campus, would that be a thing that could theoretically happen? Like, it supposedly happened in the very center of the college campus. Let's look at it on Google Maps. I'm really curious. So, if we're to believe the article and that it happened in the center, you'd assume it happened somewhere around here, right? Like in this open area here? Like somewhere in this area? Probably like around here somewhere? Yeah, I mean, theoretically, a lynching could happen in this big field with one of these trees, and no one would know. Theoretically, that could happen. I don't know, that's a lot of windows. Like, what's more likely, that someone was able to covertly commit suicide and then hang there for hours and hours, or that a lynching could take place and the body would hang there with no one doing anything for hours and hours? Like, it's really hard to say. I'm guessing this would be where it happened, for sure. I cannot imagine what his last moment must have been like. That is fucking awful. It's not a happy thing to talk about, that's for sure. Jones did not allege that Reed's death had been violent, but demanded a full and independent investigation. We're not here to point fingers yet, but we will have answers. The possible constitutional violations of releasing Trey's name to the media immediately after it happened, we'll get to that, but for now, the family is asking for answers. Speaking at the same press event, Pastor Jerry Reed, Trey's uncle, told the media that his nephew had been a happy young man, quote-unquote, filled with purpose and excited for a new chapter at Delta State University. Quote, when I talked to him, he always told me that he had a plan for his life and many things he wanted. He wanted to go to college, Jerry Reed said. He wanted to be a truck driver because that's what I was for nearly 30 years, and that's what he wanted to be. Civil rights attorney, Mississippi leadership responds. Civil rights attorneys and Mississippi leadership responds. Civil rights attorney Ben Crump will also join the Reed family in seeking a full and independent investigation of the death of Reed. Quote, Trey Reed was a young man full of promise and warmth, deeply loved and respected by all who knew him, he wrote in a media statement on Tuesday afternoon. His family and the campus community deserve a full, independent investigation to uncover the truth about what happened. We cannot accept vague conclusions when so many questions remain. I stand with this family, and I will lead a team of civil rights leaders and organizations in pursuing transparency and answers for Trey's family. U.S. House Rep. Benny Thompson, a Mississippi Democrat whose district includes Bolivar and Grenada counties, called for a federal investigation into Reed's death by the U.S. Department of Justice and the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Quote, it is always a tragedy when a young life is cut short, Thompson said in a statement Tuesday afternoon. Quote, we must leave no stone unturned in the search for answers. While the details of this case are still emerging, we cannot ignore Mississippi's painful history of lynching and racial violence against African Americans. My deepest condolences and prayers are with Trey's family during this difficult time. Trey Reed's death set off alarms across social media, with countless concerned observers fearing Reed's death was intentional, a painful echo of the many lynchings of black men in Mississippi's past. One persistent rumor falsely asserted that Trey's limbs had been broken, rendering suicide impossible. I saw a few of you in chat repeating that, by the way. Once again, we're in this weird place where, like, where are you guys hearing this, and why are you believing it on its face? And then repeating it in my chat. Because at no point was it ever... It's confirmed now, at least as much as we know, that, like... So, like, one persistent rumor falsely asserted that Trey's limbs have been broken. I've heard this in chat many times. Where did this start? And why are people in my chat repeating it? It's the same deal as, like, the Charlie Kirk shooter supposedly being a graper. It's like, where did you hear this and why are you repeating it? I know it would be nice if it was true and it would be, like, convenient and it'd be like a haha W or whatever, but, like, we can't make it be true by just refusing to believe otherwise. We're not conservatives. We don't have the magic they have to make their, like, fantasy reality. Monday afternoon, the Mississippi Free Press spoke to Bolivar County Deputy Coroner Murray Rourke, who said he assisted his colleague, Deputy Coroner Dwayne Proctor, in the examination of Reed's body. Rourke insisted he had seen no evidence of broken limbs on Reed's body. Later, Bolivar County Coroner Rudolph Seals elaborated, confirming that examiners found no evidence of assault on the body of the deceased. Based on the preliminary examination, we can confirm that the deceased did not suffer any lacerations, contusions, compound fractures, broken bones, or injuries consistent with an assault, Seals said. At this time, there is no evidence to suggest the individual was physically attacked before his death. Hours after Reed's death, police 100 miles south of Vicksburg, Mississippi found the body of a homeless white man hanging in a tree in a wooded area, sparking rumors of a connection between the two deaths on social media. I guess racists do hate homeless people these days, even if they are white. Vicksburg police have said they have no indication that the two deaths are related, but that investigation is also ongoing. Video exists of Trey Reed, DSU police chief says. At Tuesday's press conference, Vanessa Jones alleged that university leadership had yet to even call the Reed family, contradicting statements from DSU president Dr. Dan Ennis. Quote, "They said they're there for the family, but they haven't even contacted the family. This is what we call a false narrative," Jones said on September 16th. The president of Delta State University has not taken 30 seconds and called Trey's family. Ennis acknowledged that in a press conference on Wednesday morning, explaining that he was bound by protocol to communicate with the individuals Trey Reed himself listed as next of kin, rather than immediate family relations. I feel like immediate family would be the people it would make most sense to reach out to, but okay. The student tells us they're next of kin, and from the moment we discovered him, this university has been in regular, frequent contact with the next of kin, quote unquote. The university president said on September 17th. Trey Reed gave us two names. From the point of view of respecting the students' wishes, the university has been and will continue to be in direct contact with Trey's chosen names, quote unquote. I guess that's kind of fair, because at the same time, like, I can see a scenario where maybe you have some direct family members that you're not on good terms with, and the idea that, like, they might crawl their way back into your life after your death against your will just because of their blood relation, even if you've never specified them as, like, a guardian or a next of kin or anything like that on your documentation and whatnot. Like, I could see how this policy is probably best for a lot of, like, young people, too, who are, like, going to college and escaping, like, awful families. At the same Wednesday morning event, DSU Chief of Police Mike Peeler stated that Reed's body had been delivered to the Mississippi State Medical Examiner for a full autopsy, with preliminary results expected back within 24 to 48 hours. Quote, "This joint investigation remains active, and the Delta State University Police is in full cooperation with all agencies involved. This is an isolated incident," Peeler said. Due to the support of the state and local law enforcement and the increased law enforcement presence here at Delta State, there are currently no active threats to the campus, and the university remains safe. They haven't finished the autopsy yet? Really? No foul play? Bullshit? Yeah, it is weird how quick... Granted, they claim they have video. That's the thing. Like, if what they're saying is true, then they supposedly have video of him doing it. And no one else being there, no one else, like, making him do it, no one beating him, nothing like that, right? The campus police chief said that video of Trey Reed does exist, but declined to specify if this meant surveillance video showing his death before he was found hanging in the tree. Quote, "There are videos, and they're in the hands of the investigative team," Peeler said. Right now, Cleveland Police Department is leading the investigation. So we don't know for sure what's in the videos, but it's possible that's why they're so sure. This morning, the Mississippi Free Press reached out to the Cleveland Police Department to clarify this point. Does surveillance footage of the area in question exist? A representative from the department declined to provide any further information. Asked about the broader context of race relations in America during Wednesday morning's press conference, Ennis defended the culture and people of his university. Quote, "One of the things I love about Delta State is that it's what America should be. I've got 40% African American students, and they eat, play, and work and learn beside white people. I'm not saying this is heaven, but I am saying I can walk into my cafeteria right now and see black people and white people eating together," the president said. "I walk into my classroom on Tuesday morning and my classroom looks like America. You forgot to mention all the other races, you fucking bigot." Ennis Greaves, he said, both for Trey Reed and the impression that Delta State University isn't safe. "My heartbreak is comprehensive, primarily for Trey, but also for the fact that the rest of the world has an impression of Delta State that is so at odds with what I know to be of this institution. Mississippi has produced extraordinary authors, and Richard Wright is one of the best," Ennis concluded. "Richard Wright said that history comes on us." Wait, what? Richard Wright said that history comes on us? Okay. Richard Wright says that history comes on us. It surges up and it's fused, entangled. That is an oddly sexual line. "And so I acknowledge that this history, the imagery is fused, entangled in people's identities, and sometimes we can't untangle it. But Delta State University is one of the best places to start to pick at that knot, and to acknowledge that situation and to build off of it." Well, I don't know, guys. This is very, very sus, to say the least. It's very possible that a young, mentally ill college student gave up on life and committed suicide in a very politically incorrect way in the middle of a college campus, and it's very possible that a bunch of racist college Mississippi frat bros held a lynching. I could see either of these scenarios being equally possible. And that's the kind of scary thing about America right now. I don't know what to tell you guys the more likely scenario of this was. Hopefully I'll be able to keep up with this story as more developments come out, particularly if we do end up getting that independent autopsy, or if any video ends up coming out that confirms that he did in fact do it himself. But I don't know, man. Listen, this is one of those situations where it just looks a certain way. It looks a certain way, and I can't blame anyone for thinking it might be what it looks like. Simple as that. Anyway, folks, if you enjoyed this segment, if you found it entertaining, educational, or enjoyable in any way whatsoever, then please consider leaving a like and a comment down below. It really does help the channel a lot, and it forces the YouTube to boost my content in the algorithm and get it out to more people, so I appreciate it a ton. And of course, if you want to see more from me on other platforms, be sure to subscribe and also follow my social medias linked down below. And join my fan Discord. That's where we host watch parties and movie nights every week, every Friday, so don't miss that. And finally, if you want to support me directly, financially, help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio, then please consider donating, subscribing, gifting a sub on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or supporting me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon. The outro always makes me have to burp. I have no idea why. Patreon, or buy some custom Xander Hall merch through the Streamlabs link down below. Regardless of how you support me, though, thank you all so much for watching, as always, and have a good one.